Will things fall apart if you're not around at your agency? A lot of people dream of owning their own digital agency, but sometimes the reality falls very short of the dream. Based on our conversations with marketing agency executives, here's 2 big signs you need to watch out for. Sign number 1, everyone needs a break. Life's not just about work. If your agency is dependent on you being around just to keep running, it's a clear sign that you have built yourself a job. You cannot clone yourself. You're not scalable, so neither is your agency.
Most business owners don't have a business, they bought themselves a job, which means you work 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, you fix all the problems, you oversee sales, you have to grow. If you step out, the whole thing falls apart. That's not a business. And so I just knew I wanted to actually build a business that I didn't have to work at and that didn't own my life.
You need to step back from being the bottleneck where all decisions have to be made. And you cannot step back until you have leaders at your agency who are willing and capable enough to step up.
I spent a couple years cultivating and building some leaders within the company. We put in some operational stuff, like we operate off of EOS, which is traction, but like you got to have some sort of system that you're running off of. Over the course of a couple years, found 2 people that wanted to kind of grow. And one of them said, I want to be a CEO one day. And I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I need. So over the course of a couple of years, we just continued to build them, continue to put in processes and structure and document things so that the business could run off of systems and not just run off of me or one other person.
Another key component in building for scale is providing other team members of your agency with seamless accessibility to information and providing go-to processes when you're away.
Setting up automations and making sure that the right information is always in there and it's accessible to anybody. So if I'm out on vacation, I might reassign something to the head of strategy. Or if I'm out and maybe I didn't reassign something, all the information is still there. And so if a client had a question, they would go into my documents and find that, and it's all labeled out. So making sure that you're thinking about everything that could happen, could go wrong, and then planning for that to happen, then communicating where that information is. It's kind of like a natural disaster plan, but for agencies.
Sign number 2, can your agency meet your sales target without your involvement? If not, it's another sign that you are stuck to a job you built. A scalable sales machine is crucial to a viable business. If you're the top salesperson, you need to focus on coaching others to close sales too. Else, you don't have time for other crucial aspects of building a scalable business, such as building a leadership team and scalable systems for the rest of the agency. Your agency could also be losing out on opportunities to close more sales.
One of the first things that we did was change the way that we had our proposal process. It was a little disorganized. At the time, the CEO did all of the prospecting calls and the sales calls and getting that information to the rest of the team. There was a lot of miscommunication that could happen, and that was happening.
The solution here is to develop a sales process that doesn't rely solely on you. Develop a lead generation strategy and create a sales process that is scalable and repeatable.
Making sure that that process was systemized and the same every single time was super important for client satisfaction. So that was one of the biggest and first projects that I took over. We did a couple of interviews for people after they signed a contract. It was like, how was that process for you? And what could we have done better? And so we kind of tweaked from there. And at this point, the process has continued to evolve over the last couple of years, but it's pretty easy now, and it's a quicker process. And we've got me, the CEO, the head of strategy, and the social media marketing person all working together in that system. So having that process really laid out allows for multiple people to be working on that. If it's all running through one person, it's really not going to be efficient. It's not, there's not a whole lot that one person can do. But when you've got, 9 people working towards the same goal, that's where things can really happen.
Another great solution is to identify individuals inside or outside of your agency who have what it takes to step into the sales role and coach them along their way to success.
If you're going to scale and you're going to do it fast, you got to build it so that other people can do it right away. And then you start hiring people to do the things that need to be done, and you do it at velocity. Get other people into the sales and prospecting, and you build a sales team. And then you just step back and you watch the thing and you see where it breaks, because it will. And then it's going to grow and it's going to be great. And then it's going to break. And then you're going to fix that and you're going to make all new processes. And then it's going to grow and then it's going to break. So breakage happens, and expect it. It's not a failure. It's a necessary part of the growth. Nobody makes a business that doesn't break as it grows. It's just the way it is. But you can make it a lot more resilient by making a tight focused product that doesn't have friction, that doesn't have a lot of moving parts, and then mapping out the rest of it so that it's all very color by numbers.
When you are constantly bogged down in the day-to-day operations, there's no time or mental space to think strategically about the direction of the agency. This leads to a lack of long-term planning and a failure to adapt to changes in the market. Eventually, this results in stagnant or even negative growth.
The problem when you're small is this roller coaster of sales and fulfillment. You go out and you get this new business and it's great. But then you've got these clients and you've got to perform. You've got to make sure that it works, right? And because you're a small agency and you are probably involved in that day-to-day process into the actual fulfillment, you have to focus on doing right by your clients because that's the promise you made. And so when you're doing that, you're taking your eyes off the ball when it comes to sales. And so inevitably what happens is you get new clients, and then inevitably, no matter how good you are as a company, attrition happens. You're going to lose clients. So if any clients leave, all of a sudden your profit margin that you live off of goes down. And now you're like, oh no, I need to make sales. And so then what happens is you switch over to sales, and that's where a lot of your focus goes. And meantime, what happens over here? What happens with fulfillment? Well, you're in a constant mercenary gladiator battle against Google. And if you're not focusing over there, other people are, and they're going to eat your lunch, right? And so when you're small, you focus on sales, performance suffers. Focus on performance, sales suffers. And it's this constant back and forth, up and down of revenue.
In order to remove this obstacle, it's important to streamline your processes.
Nail down your processes. Figure out from a very granular level, how does this really pull together? Then document that process, put it into something that can be followed. Make it as checklistable as possible, because that's where you get the level of consistency that you need in order to scale and to make sure that your quality doesn't suffer. If your processes are solid, they can follow the steps that are laid out, and you can achieve a technically competent result that you would with an expert.
Owning a digital agency can be a fulfilling experience, but it could turn out that you build yourself a job that you don't like very much, as it begins to take a toll on your business and your own potential. By delegating responsibilities, developing scalable processes, and building a team that can take on your tasks, successful agencies go from being good to being great. How did you overcome these issues as you help to build your agency? If you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and hit that bell notification button to stay updated with our future videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.